Hello and welcome to episode 84 of the Jeffrey and Brian Show. I'm Jeffrey.
I'm Brian.
And with you guys, you're going to be able to talk what's going on. We got our friends with us again. As usual, it's more fun to do it this way. A lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of weird stuff happened. And I don't know how else to say it besides that. Like a bunch of stuff we saw coming that we predicted. We actually have something for the predictions page today.
We do? Oh, good. Better get that ready.
Oh, wow. This is the red one we got in here is from the predictions page.
Okay.
First, did you guys see that apparently koalas are now officially endangered?
I did see that.
Yeah. Apparently they were protesting against COVID restrictions and they've been rounded up and exterminated.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Yes. And then they realized, oops, we can't be doing that.
Well, then drop bears got to go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We can't have them with these super spreader events diving out of trees and ripping people's faces off. See, that's why I thought the Australians were the ones to rise up and do something, not the Canadians. You know?
Well, I mean, in all due fairness to Australia, they lost a war against emus. They're not that competent.
They're very fast, though. All right.
Yeah, the Australian Koala Foundation estimates there's fewer than 100,000 left in the wild, with maybe as few as 43,000.
What's does it say what's happening?
Probably wildfire didn't help it.
It says this comes as the marsupials continue to fall prey to chlamydia and lose their habitats to land clearing and climate change. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
We had a climate change event today here in the Hampton Roads area.
Oh yeah, how's that?
It was 70 degrees.
Yeah, but I saw your Facebook page, and 1 year ago you were sailing too.
I know. I just added that after I got home.
Well, we have to do the most responsible thing when the climate change happens.
Move further north.
Get on
No,
our
go
boat.
sailing. Get on the boat.
If all the world's oceans are going to rise and flood the world, you better have a boat, Noah. Right?
Mhm.
That's right.
By the way, just a quick question. Now, I'm not denying anything. These are legit questions. How much of the world's glaciers are in the water versus on land?
There's only a third on land compared to, well, that's icebergs. No idea.
Well, I'm just thinking, when water freezes, it expands, right?
Uh-huh.
That's how ice floats.
Mhm.
So if all of this ice in the ocean melted, shouldn't the sea level go down? Just like if you fill a cup with ice and then top it off with water, as the ice melts, the water level goes down because the ice contracts to turn into water.
No, I think it actually contracts to turn into ice.
No, it would sink if it did that. It'd be more dense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to fact check this.
Oh, go ahead.
Fact checks on the show.
Yeah. No, that's what's special about water is that it's one of the few things that expands to turn into a liquid from a solid.
Well, I know it has something to do with it is less dense.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
see?
actually
That's why ice floats. Yeah.
That's
and-
Tetzalee's Science Corner.
Yes. Well, I'm just wondering if most of the, because like they say, only the tip of the iceberg is above water. So most of the ice is below water, displacing other water. And if it melts, it should not displace any water, you know? I don't know. Maybe there's enough, in, was it the Arctic, the North one there where there's no landmass? Maybe there's enough up there that would make a difference. No, I'm sorry. It would have to be on a landmass, wouldn't it? And leak into the ocean to raise the sea level. I don't know. I didn't mean to go off on some crazy corner there, but this has bothered me for a very long time. This is if ice didn't expand to freeze, there wouldn't be life on Earth because it would be a ball of ice. So the water would freeze, sink to the bottom, freeze, sink to the bottom.
yeah.
Anyway,
So
now that we've denied climate change,
Virginia has a split government right now. The governor is a Republican. The House of Representatives is controlled by Republicans, and the Senate is controlled by Democrats. And something weird happened this week. The senators in the Senate decided to vote for a mask mandate that would mean that it wouldn't be up to school boards anymore. It'll be up to the parents to decide whether their kids are wearing masks in school or
not. Yeah. I read another article about this from Crowder. They're very opinionated when they write stuff, so I try not to share them a whole lot to the group.
Okay.
But they pointed out that he also added in a provision that remote learning doesn't count as classroom instruction. And if they want to do this teaching from home crap, that they're going to have to sacrifice a big piece of their summer vacations.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Yeah, the unions are pissed. And they're screaming, read the room. It's like the entire state disagrees with you, ma'am.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just going to ask by anything strange, it was like, did they actually get something done?
Yes, they did.
That's actually impressive that the Republicans did anything.
It's more impressive that the Democrats actually agreed with something.
Right.
Wow. What's a Democrat these days? Like, to be fair, the average person who votes decides 2 weeks before they vote, and they only know what letter they're voting for.
Yeah.
We're going to see a giant red wave coming up just because people know that D didn't work. So now they're going to try R. But they have no idea. I bet you the average person doesn't know who their congressman is. But I bet you they vote for their congressman every time it's with the presidency.
Yeah, their congressman's the shit.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get rid of them all except for mine. I like mine. Yeah, even Massachusetts is looking to drop mask mandates for school. The end of the month here, the mandates expire and they're probably not renewing them.
Nice.
I'm excited, but let's see what happens. I'm still wearing one at work, and because someone's afraid, but whatever.
Well, a whole bunch of states this last week are changing up blue states are changing up their mask mandate rules. So
yeah, we mentioned that Tuesday, right? There was like 4 states anyway that did. This is just a follow-up, but apparently they got a COD for Saget.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he hit his head and bled bled into his brain.
Okay, guys. Do you guys honestly? I don't remember. I remember when the first report came out. It said they found him on the floor with a hand on his chest, thinking that he probably had a heart attack.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember. That was the first thing I heard when everybody found out Bob Saget is dead. But now they're telling us that he was in bed. He fell asleep.
I don't remember him reading him on the floor. Doesn't mean that wasn't the report. I just don't particularly remember it. I do remember that there's no alcohol, no drugs, and all the stuff you'd expect from Bob Saget.
That was the most surprising thing about his death. It's like, wait, he was clean of cocaine.
Yeah. That's what we said. It's like he must have OD'd on blow.
Well, probably he got it by the crack pipe, and that's what happened.
He was waiting for the government grant.
It was a safe smoking kit. That's what it was.
Yeah, he was tweaking out and hit his head on the headboard and waiting for his fix.
Oh my God. And that's why oh man.
Did you guys see the fact check from Snopes on that one?
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Like mostly false, because it wasn't just crack pipes, it was meth pipes and heroin needles too.
Oh my God.
It's so much worse. Why did you do that?
Snopes, you're just making yourself look bad. Stop. You're drunk. Go home.
Don't worry. We put condoms in there.
Yourself.
There's condoms in there too, which is a good idea, but they didn't cap the needle off. So I mean, I don't know how effective they
are. I got one other topic I want to talk about briefly here real quick, since I've been hyping it on all our Facebook feeds and stuff.
Oh, yeah? Have you?
I had a dream last night.
Did you dream that your 4 children will once be judged by the content and the character, not the color of their skin?
No, I had a dream that we were doing a live podcast in Disney World, and we had like a studio all set up to do it, and we all got separated because of the crowds.
Wait, Disney was going to let us broadcast from Disney, and like they were involved?
Yeah.
The only way that I would do a show.
They were our new sponsor. I don't know.
The only way I would do a show with Disney is if I could crap on the desk of Kathleen Kennedy for ruining Star Wars.
Well, don't worry. We didn't do the show because we all got too drunk. And when it was time to do the show, Jeffrey said, I need another hour and a half. And by the time the hour and a half came around, I was passed out. Even Sean was in this dream. Sean was going to do the podcast too.
Quality.
Thanks a lot, Texicles.
And Ray, he figured he interpreted the dream earlier for me.
So even in Brian's dreams, I drink too much.
We all do.
I disappeared to the California Adventure and just drank the winery dry.
The other thing about this Bob Saget thing, you know the Heather McDonald lady that fell on stage and stuff.
Yeah, we'll be circling back to her, I think. Maybe not.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, she actually got a booster shot 3 weeks to that day. And that's when she collapsed. And she's not the only one to collapse comedian-wise. I don't know what is it with comedians collapsing. But what's the other lady?
Chelsea Handler.
Yeah, that lady.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to talk about this, okay. We'll talk about this woman for a minute. That when she took a spill, not only did she say, like, I got my 3rd booster shot, I'm immortal or whatever. Mm-hmm. Right before she took a fall, she said, Jesus loves me the most. And then she fell and cracked her head open. All I could think was the George Floyd mural getting hit by lightning on a sunny day.
Oh my God.
With a single bolt of lightning. I was like, you guys gotta cut down this blasphemy, you know?
Fucking last famous words. Jesus love me. Boom.
Yeah, boom. Oh.
He loves you so much. He wanna see you right away. He wanna see you right away. All right. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Anyway, Saget. Probable head trauma. Speaking of head trauma here, I know I didn't share it to the group, but this bull moose thing, you see this?
No, show me the video.
This woman was training her sled team to do the Adirondack Trail, the 52-mile long race across Alaska. Yeah. And a moose comes out of the woods, full-grown bull moose. And
they're small animals.
Yes. They weigh about 1,700 pounds and are about 7 feet tall up to their shoulders. Very little critters. Well, anyway, it charged at her and she unloaded her weapon into it and it didn't care. Which the fact that in this article, they don't tell me what her weapon was, tells me she was grossly underpowered to fight a moose, you know?
Oh, shit.
But she managed to cut away half her sled team to get to safety. The other half got mauled by this moose, like broken legs, internal bleeding, organ damage. At least 2 of them went into surgery. One of them had its head trampled pretty bad. And the neighbor had to show up. You know, God knows how long it took him to find him in Alaska. You know what I mean? On a snowmobile with an elephant gun to stop this thing.
Yeah.
But dear God, can you imagine being in the woods all alone with a moose and you're like, it's already pissed off. And now you go and dump like 15 rounds of a 45 into it. Now it's real pissed off. I know that's butthole puckering terror right there, you know?
Oh
yeah. All right. I just brought that one up because it was crazy. It was an unbelievable story. I guess we can talk about these truckers, huh?
Yep, sure.
Well, you want to leave it for Tuesday, COVID topic related? Tuesday?
Well, COVID categories are getting smaller now, so
they are,
okay,
which is
thank
good.
God.
Well, you know how the GoFundMe like basically tried to give away a whole bunch of people's money and we're getting a ton of trouble.
$8 million to BLM movement.
Yeah, exactly. The exact opposite of where the money was supposed to go. In terms of BLM was burning down cities and being called peaceful, and these people being peaceful and called terrorists. Give, Send, Go picked up the campaign after this, and they were taking like Bitcoin donations and stuff. And Canada threatened to confiscate all this money, like seize it, because it's a terrorist organization. And they told Canada to fuck themselves. They're going to give the truckers this money anyway.
Right.
What a mess we got up there. Actually, they just cleared up a lot of that mess today, or tried to anyway.
Yeah, the bridge that goes between Detroit and Ontario.
Yeah, apparently they started clearing that up, but how?
They brought police in and said, go or we arrest you.
Okay. So
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. So I found out the caliber of gun she was carrying.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Good.
Take a wild guess.
9mm.
Smaller.
Oh my gosh, yeah, 22.
380.
Oh, it was probably a 6-shot revolver too, huh?
Yeah.
That's all caliber. That's all I got. 380. Like, dude, that doesn't do shit to people either.
Actually, no, it can kill people.
Well, 380 is a nasty round, but I'm not shooting a moose with it. You know what I mean?
At least carry a 30-30 with you.
Well, if you're going moose hunting, a 30-30 is just going to piss it off.
I was going to say, I want at least a 30-06, and I also want it thing to be grazing in the grass from 50 yards away, and I'm in a tree. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this specify the gun, just a telecaliber handgun. I guess it's a revolver probably.
So that
380 is usually an APC round, which means generally it's like a concealed carry, anti-personnel.
Yeah, like a snub.
You're in the woods. You need a rifle,
or at least a shotgun. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm guessing she had a 380 in case like a wolf came up or something.
Yeah.
But a shotgun will stop a wolf too. You know? And has a chance to stop a moose.
A bear too.
I lived in the mountains and the rule of thumb was 357 or higher.
Yeah, well, a double-aught shotgun round stops a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but the rule was 357 or bigger. You don't go below 357.
I mean, it depends on what animals you're going to come into. I mean, like out here in Massachusetts where I am, realistically, a 9mm pistol is going to be enough to handle the animals unless I get into a fist fight with a buck. But realistically, a buck is the biggest animal I'm going to come across. And yeah, granted, our deer are a little bit bigger here, but I mean, a 40, if a deer's charging straight at you, a 40 could put down a deer easily.
Yeah, but I'm
assuming you could hit it.
I'm looking at you like I used to go camping where there were elk, so
there's no elk here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the biggest I got is a deer, and the most dangerous I have here is actually wild cats and coyotes. Coyotes are dirty.
Yeah, and there's a picture of this. There's a moose in here with the dogs and stuff.
Next to the dogs?
Yeah.
Oh my God, those dogs were messed up.
The moose didn't had no antlers.
Yeah, they I guess they're like reindeer and they shed their antlers.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of neat. I didn't realize the males shed their antlers. I thought they did what deer do and do that fuzzy thing every year, you know? Anyway.
Fine.
What?
Never mind. You're not a hunter.
I know they lose the fuzz after they grow their antlers, and then the fuzz doesn't come back.
Back to the Freedom Convoy. The U.S. has offered our support to Canada to help end the trucker protests.
Yeah, I read this everywhere, but all we really did was say, "Why don't you use your federal authority to do it?"
Well, Canada's a different country. Their federal authorities are different than our federal authorities. So.
Well, they threatened to bring in the military, and the military said no.
Right.
That's pretty badass.
I listened to his whole live reaction, like Trudeau's. He seemed to come off like he was insulting and threatening for the first half of it.
That's usually the way he comes across.
Yeah, the dude just seems like he's trying to intimidate his own population into subjugation.
Well, I know I make this reference often in terms of the French Revolution, but I think there's a lot of important lessons from history to be learned here. He's acting like Marie Antoinette. Like he's completely out of touch with what's going on with his people. They're complaining about this. Like, well, it's not that big a deal. So what if we don't have people driving food around? There's plenty of food in the stores. That kind of no idea what's going on.
So I guess you guys didn't hear what he did today.
What did he do today?
He went on a ski trip.
I like skiing.
He's in quarantine because of COVID.
No, he was in the parliament like a couple of days ago.
So he's back home in the capital.
I want to go back to this. Yeah. How the police got the stuff to peacefully move. I'm still not sure how they just threatened to arrest these people and they just moved to their trucks.
I don't know.
Like honestly, if you're going to blockade a border that's got $100 million moving across it every day, you're expecting to get arrested, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of the point, was then they arrest you, but your truck is locked here. And it's going to take them an hour and a half to even get the thing on a tow truck.
Well, that one person said they should slash their tires and then haul them away. I think it's a lot easier to haul them away before you slash the tires.
Yes. And okay, let's say these guys did say, okay, we'll move and go. How logistically, how? Like the guy in the back just slowly backs up, turns around, and the guy in front of him turns, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And tractor trailers lined up for miles and miles and miles. This is going to take weeks.
Yep.
Well, that's why I'm saying I don't understand what's going on. It doesn't seem logistically possible to move this up, even if the guys want to help at this point. Like in Ottawa, they've gridlocked the city. There's nowhere to move to. I think we're being lied to. That's all I can say. The M5M, I guess.
Okay.
Just like Psaki was downplaying this the whole time, calling them terrorists and everything. I got a feeling that a lot of the stuff's not happening. But at the same time, Canada did just drop a whole bunch of their restrictions, claiming it wasn't because of the truckers.
No, it's science.
No.
Yeah, the science has changed.
Well, no, I've looked into this doctor that they have. That's their version of Fauci. And all I can say is that this woman is worse than Fauci is for us. Like,
I don't know. I am the science.
She's not the science.
He sound like Fauci.
She parrots Fauci's points, and then she goes above and beyond the level of lunacy that Fauci.
She's out shafted.
Pretty much.
Guys, I think one thing you guys forgetting is the science has changed. The political science has changed. And the polling is not looking good.
The science hasn't changed. The science is a technique and a process.
No, you're not hearing
data that we're collecting has changed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand both what y'all are saying. Like Guapo, you are right. The politics behind the science have changed, so the science has changed. And then I agree with Testicles here when he says that the science never changes because science is a process. It should not be changed for politics. So I understand where both y'all are coming from.
Well, they keep saying the science changed. Like the science itself didn't change. We started looking at different things. There's new data, new variables.
Well, I'm also interested in to hear what Guapo was going to finish.
Oh, no, I get what he's saying. He's saying
the polling
at political science now.
The polling did?
The polling doesn't look good. I favor it to them. That's why it changed.
They started listening to the political scientists instead.
Like, dude, you need to cut this out.
But yeah, science itself doesn't change. It's a technique to get to the answer. And we keep using the science change. Like, no, like you're collecting different info. So your interpretation of this data changed, not the actual you use the same process to come to a different answer. Which is the whole thing we were talking about with this mask crap. was the tests that they did to make it look like these things work so great was done in a vacuum in a laboratory. There was no real world variables like taking your mask out of your pocket and putting it on your face, you know?
Windshield rear view mirror.
Yeah, or wearing like a diaper on your chin. Chris, I had to shave. I drug a razor blade across my face because I got sick and tired of growing mushrooms in my beard, and they weren't even making me hallucinate. Criminy, I almost got a yeast infection on my face.
Oh. You might want to take better care of your beard.
That's right. No, I shaved it off. No matter how much it was big. Even when I buzzed it down, it would get thick enough that there's just always moisture in it, you know? And then it's covered up. There's no light on it. It's moist and it's dark. That's where fungus grows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And you got a portobello mushroom every time you take it.
Really? Well, I actually almost kept it because I did find what are those? The ones the pigs like, truffles. I found a truffle once. Yeah, but then I got a whole bunch of shiitake. Those things are disgusting.
You want some Parmesan cheese?
I smoked the Parmesan
cheese. Don't do that. Hunter Biden would be at his door in a heartbeat.
Let me know when.
Yeah, we'll put that Parmesan cheese in my government-funded crack pipe, and we're all set.
Oh man!
All right. The convoy. Speaking of the convoys, is moving into Paris, and the police have already been involved. They're arresting people, but this protest is getting bigger in Paris. They're doing the same thing that Canada did.
And don't we have something going on with trucks coming towards DC now too?
And New Zealand. The entire world, it seems, that it looks like the free world looked what Canada did and said, the Canadians are the ones standing up. You know, they're so nice. And then, see, that's the difference, though. When Americans get into a tough spot, they blow shit up and shoot things. The Canadians complain.
You know, there's a law, I forgot what part of Canada, when two parties get into an accident, you know how Canadians are like, hey, I'm sorry to hit you, you know, like both of them will feel sorry. Like they will say, I'm sorry. And usually that create conflict and the court of law, and I guess you're not at fault when you say you're sorry because they just automatically come out of them. That's peaceful.
That's good because that's actually, even if it's not your fault, you often say, oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay? Yeah.
And then that's an admission of guilt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I like that the Canadians like, no, that's not an admission of guilt. That's just a Canadian being nice. Yeah. You know?
And even with me, when I got into an accident with this lady, I automatically stay away from her because I didn't want to say the wrong things. You know, like I didn't want to say like all I did say like you okay, just making sure I did not say even though it wasn't my fault. I didn't want to say I'm sorry because that could be used against me.
Yeah, that's an admission of guilt at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think's up with these convoy things? You think this is going to keep expanding?
Honestly, I haven't heard nothing about other countries until now.
Oh, New Zealand has been playing Barry Manilow's greatest hits and the Macarena on loop to try to deter the protesters. But I'm pretty sure the Americans invented that technique.
Yeah,
blasted. With what's the name of the guy in Panama?
Emmanuel Noriega.
Emmanuel Noriega.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were blasting like rock music into the jungle to try to keep these people awake all night.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the problem is we keep coming up with these great techniques and then they get used back on people like, oh, like guerrilla warfare. For some reason, people think that when the hot conflict, civil war happens in the United States, that people could be lining up in lines and shooting at each other. I'm like, no, it's going to be bombs going off, assassination attempts, and shooting from trees and rooftops. You know, it's not going to be people shooting at each other in a line.
Right.
I honestly think it's going to look like Gaza. all the main cities across America are going to look like Gaza at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah. The whole Egypt thing. Look, two Egyptian revolutions happened in what, 5 years? And 7/8 of the country didn't give a shit. They were eating dinner while the gunfire was happening down the street, you know? And then like, oh, look, there's a new government. Like, oh, all right, whatever. That was the Muslim Brotherhood, was it? When they took power and then lost it.
It was. Oh, the Obama administration supported them.
Yeah, and then once the Obama administration stopped holding them up, they were overthrown again.
I mean, we had U.S. reporters over there ask them what they thought about what President Obama did to help them gain their freedom.
Yeah, what'd they say?
Obama who?
Yeah, there you go. But these truckers, though, like you said, they're looking like they might be doing one here in the States. A lot of rumors that they're looking to interrupt the Super Bowl tomorrow.
Why would you go to the Super Bowl?
Well, as weird as it sounds, I think the news has been putting this out a lot. And I think Tim Pool said it. Maybe this is what planted the seed in my head.
Well, I mean, that's not in the right direction. I mean, if they're heading east, the Super
I think
Bowl
that's exactly
on the West
what
goes.
I think maybe that's why they did it. Was a lot of people that are considering getting involved but didn't know what was going on. They're hoping that they go to the Super Bowl instead of DC, which granted, where's the game being played?
Los Angeles.
Screw up LA for a little while and a handful of people show up and then make them look like giant douchebags.
What are you talking about? Screw up LA? Honestly, people that are technically, protesting on the quote rights, which I put that in quotations for these people generally leave the places cleaner than when they got there. So all you're going to do is improve LA at that point in time.
That's what the convoy truckers did in Ottawa. They left it cleaner, just like all the Tea Party people.
Same thing when we went to, I was here in Richmond like 2 years ago, went to protest for the Second Amendment. After we finished, everybody's picking up trash. We were picking trash and stuff.
Well, and that's as weird as it sounds. Anyone who doesn't vote Democrat realizes they have to leave the place looking better than they showed up, because it will be publicized if it's not looking better. You know what I mean? Even if it looks the same. But I'm excited to see these truckers because if they do pull this, they're supposed to come right through Boston down 95. And I'm only like 25 minutes from Boston. I'll be showing up with gas cans full of diesel fuel, Oh, shoot. You kidding me? I hope they gridlock Boston and shut Boston down for 2 days on their way.
Well, they got to wear their mask in Boston.
If they get out of their truck. Actually, there is a mask mandate, yeah. And I got my VA crap on Tuesday. And I have to go talk to the doctor up in Jamaica Plain in Boston. You don't want to be in Jamaica Plain.
Not a good area.
No, it's kind of like Dorchester, where the Wahlberg brothers grew up, but it's less white. Not that makes it more dangerous, but you stick out like a sore thumb being the white guy there. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you don't live here. How do you know that?
Yeah. Trust me, it looks like the only no, I'm not gonna mention what VA I went to, but I felt like the only white person there ever. So
all right. Moving on. Inflation we're still breaking records with inflation. Which is funny because what's that?
Transitory.
Or not existing. Or being a good thing because you get paid more.
Yeah, well, apparently when we get paid more, we have to spend more. So,
well, wages went up like 3% or whatever, but inflation went up 7%.
What's that?
A couple of months in a row now, not just one.
What's that line by Thomas Sowell? Inflation is the greatest tax against the working class.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You're taxing the working class. And I loved what CNN tried to tell us. Well, it's good for the poor because your debt's actually less debt. I was like, you're out of your effing mind.
It's good if you bought a home, then you be paying less. Actually.
Well, that's the thing is the person who already has a ton of debt can't buy a home, but the person who makes, we'll say 70 grand a year, not poor, but definitely not rich. You know, upper middle class maybe, or middle class depending on where you live. That person can go buy a giant plot of property in West Virginia and just sit on it and wait for it to inflate to double its value and dump it, and then wait for the inflation to go away. The average poor person cannot do that. That's it. It's a direct tax on the working class because it's making everything cost more. It's making your dollar worth less by the time you get home from being paid.
Well, what about retirement accounts? I mean, these people that if they have a 10% return on investment with the retirement accounts over 10 years, if inflation keeps up like this, you're just going to break even. No, you're going to barely break even on maybe a 10-year return.
Yeah, and that's assuming inflation doesn't increase and you actually get a negative return. Like how pissed would you be if you went on a 10, 20-year savings spree with a 401k and it comes out less than it was?
Yeah, people don't realize it's like how bad inflation is for everyone in the economy, including the poor. And they're
especially the poor.
They're brainwashing the poor into thinking, oh, inflation's good for us. And no, I live in a rather low-income neighborhood, and I've actually had people tell me before that inflation's good for us because it means your debts are less. And I'm like, how stupid are you?
Yes, but that's assuming you can afford to pay your debt, though.
Yep.
Because if you can't, you're still collecting that interest.
And the interest is more now.
Yeah. Well, just ask them, like, how much are you getting the same amount of groceries that you were getting 6 months ago?
No, I'm not.
No one is. And especially people with a food stamp card realize that. Because the food stamp only bought certain things. And it's like, well, I'm not even getting food anymore. You know?
Did it just increase the food stamp like a couple months ago?
Yes, but less than inflation has been.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because your average person in that situation noticed that they wasn't buying food anymore. So, you got to, let's be fair here. The average person who's having trouble putting food on the table isn't watching the news and doing in-depth studying on this crap. They're worrying about putting food on the table.
They're probably watching Dr. Phil, too.
Oh, my God.
Possibly, but a lot of people aren't having trouble surviving because they're lazy. A lot of people having trouble surviving because it's tough to survive. And those people really genuinely don't know what's going on because they don't even have a chance to follow this crap because they have 2 jobs, And their wife is sitting at home watching the hens cluck on The View, taking care of the 2 kids or whatever. You know what I mean?
I heard you had an update.
I do. We will. It's in here somewhere, I think. What's his name there? The Republican governor. I'm sorry, congressman who's actually a rhino on the Jan 6 committee. Kinzinger, right?
Yeah.
Kinzinger?
Yeah, he's from my state. Yep.
Yeah,
you got a quote from him?
Well, actually, I didn't have one loaded, but I have the response from The View in here because he was on The View talking about it. But we will circle back to that.
I do have an impression of the quote when you guys want to hear it. So,
cool.
But they keep saying inflation's higher and higher. But the best part is they keep going back to 1982. It's the most since 1982. Most since 1982. Most since 1982. It's like, well, you've already said that. So every month that passes, we're going back another month because inflation. What they're talking about is the end of the big inflation from the late 70s into the 80s.
And they don't even adjust their math to like if we did the math the same way we measured it in 1982. This is the most inflation we've had since the fucking 40s. Early 40s.
Since 1980, I think that's when they changed the calculation. No, maybe it was 82. They changed the calculation because the numbers got so bad. They made 82. It look like we weren't.
It was 82 when they changed the calculations, and though this would be the worst inflation we've seen since the Great Depression.
Yeah. The end of World War II when we went into depression because we weren't building weapons anymore, and all of a sudden no one had a job.
Yeah, so it's like it was either the Great Depression or that point when we actually had the worst inflation on record.
Great Depression was after World War I, though, right?
Yes. Or
leading into.
It was after World War I. It was the crash of the stock market due to
same thing. We weren't making weapons anymore, so everyone.
Yeah, so like
That's why we're going into war now, to make weapons so we're not in poverty.
Like whenever my last company that we had somebody from the bank come in talk about the 401ks and stuff like that, IRAs, and they were talking about like, oh yeah, every it's always inflation on your dollar, like you have, that's why you have to save it, like yeah, let me guess, it's 3% every year, like yeah, it's 3%. Yeah, I know, every year you dollar devalue 3%, and now on top of that you got this 7.2, 7.5.
Oh, that's not in addition to, that's
yeah, and every year, yeah,
instead of.
Yeah, so just do the math. After 1982, 3% every year, you lose the value of your dollar, and then on top of that, you got this.
Well, that's not 100% the way it works. Yes, we print 3% a year on average, but a big part of it is because the economy grows. As weird as it sounds, like there's more people, there's more work being done, more units being produced. Therefore, there's more currency to be used. But if we're not producing and we're still producing more currency, because like if we had 10 people and we only had $50 between the 10 of us, we could work as a community. But then if we become 100 people, $50 won't possibly go around unless we hyper deflate the dollar.
But yeah, then your dollar be more valuable. Like, oh shoot!
No, exactly. I like the way you're talking, right? I would rather deflate the dollar and make $1. Yeah. I'd rather $1 today be worth $20 up today.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, well, do you remember going to the penny candy store only like 25 years ago? Oh, Jesus Christ!
Gum,
like 30 years ago.
25. Gum used to be 25 cents a couple years ago.
I remember candy bars were 25 cents.
I used to go to the penny candy store with $1, and I'm not kidding you. I'd walk out with 100 pieces of candy, and they, it was like a butterscotch, or, a Hershey's Kiss or whatever, but they were penny a piece. You go in there with $1 bill to the candy store, and you'd have a bag of candy. It would last you like a month and a half as a kid. It was so exciting.
What do you get for $1 now?
You don't even get a Crunch Bar. You get half a Twix.
I bought a pack of fruit-flavored Mentos on somewhere today, and that thing still cost me $1.19. It didn't even last me a full day.
Well, you're supposed to eat them.
Well, yeah, I do eat them. They're fruit-flavored Mentos. They're like Starburst, but a little bit mintier.
I put them in a Diet Coke.
So, famous quote from Thomas Jefferson: if the American people ever allowed private banks to control the issue of the currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and the corporation will grow up around to deprive the people of all property until the children wake up homeless.
Okay, what would you like to do instead of a Federal Reserve system with whether there's a private bank running it?
It should not be a Federal Reserve. It should be a Treasury. The Treasury should be collect taxes and use that taxes to distribute. To supplement the army and maintain.
But someone is supposed to control the actual currency itself, and they made the Federal Reserve. No, they made the Federal Reserve a private bank, so the government couldn't inflate and deflate as they chose. They needed a private company to agree. Like basically, like the president, the commander in chief of the military is not military.
Yeah, but
that was the whole idea.
We tried the bank, First National Bank. They work out. We tried the Second National Bank. They work out. So
there's also a gold and silver standard.
Yeah,
but we did away with that. We're a confidence-based economy now.
That's what I'm saying. We had a gold and silver standard when we had a national bank. So there was a hard back behind the dollar. It didn't matter because there's only so much gold sitting at.
Well, can all four of us acknowledge the fact that this country has been on a long road of repealing checks so that the government can pretty much do whatever it wants? And we've been on this road since about the Civil War. Can we all agree to that?
Oh, so you're talking about the Emancipation Proclamation being the beginning of the president having way too much authority?
No, I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln's his infringement on First Amendment rights. I'm talking about the overreach of the federal government has been going on since the Civil War. Can we at least all agree on that?
Well, that's actually John Adams, the Emancipation Proclamation.
John Adams tried to do it too. Arrest people for for talking bad about the presidency.
I didn't know that.
The first person to live in the White House?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize that Adams tried to shut down speech rights.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the mandate he was trying to push.
We've been on this road forever. I mean, the gold and silver standard was technically a check on the Treasury as well as the Federal Reserve and stuff like that, and we just ignore it nowadays. I mean, we are a confidence-backed economy.
Well, it's the same argument I'm going to use, though. There wasn't enough gold to go around for this many people, unless we.
Why not? Gold value inflates. Gold value deflates. I mean, this is
gold value. Gold value doesn't change. Everything moves around gold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. If that means there's only X value in gold. So if the population grows, you can't share it because there's only X value. But you would have to cut it into smaller and smaller pieces.
The doing away with that instead of finding supplementary uses for adding to the value of our technical treasury is just, it's a government overreach. They could have added to the value of the treasury by including things like platinum, silver, increased mining operations in this country. Instead, we went to a confidence-based economy where the government could abuse their power.
Yes and no. The United States dollar is more or less backed by oil. I mean, that's why we call it the petrol dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically why the United States, as much as we complain about fuel prices, we're paying less than everyone else. I hope you realize that. Like you see the prices in like the UK, and you go, holy crap, that's nuts. That's a liter of fuel. You're buying it by the gallon.
Yeah, there's a little bit difference between those two measurements.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's going off and we can't hear him.
Muted.
Oh, sorry, I coughed. Yeah, this is 2 liters here. Right. 2 liters versus a gallon of gasoline,
which is 4 liters.
Oh, 4
3 liters a gallon.
Huh?
3 liters a gallon.
Yeah, 3 point something. Yeah, it's 4 quarters.
Yeah, so
empirical measurements and
John Adams arrested 25 Americans for the Sedition Act to criticize his administration. So he's the first one to criticize, arrest people for free speech.
Well, sedition is not necessarily free speech.
Seditions Act. Well, part of the First Amendment, for the press. There were reporters he arrested.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think arresting a reporter is a giant mistake unless there's a very obvious crime. Like I'm actually furious Trump didn't pardon Assange.
Mm. Oh, I am too.
I'm furious. It should have been the first thing he did when he came into office. And if it wasn't, it should have been the last thing he did.
Right.
What did Julian Assange do?
He's a whistleblower.
He tells everybody the government's listen to them.
No, that was Snowden.
I thought it was him too.
Assange is WikiLeaks.
Yeah. Assange publicized what Snowden did, but Assange was in trouble far before Snowden.
Oh, the entire world wants that, man. He didn't just all he did was publish things.
Right.
He didn't get the info. He published it. Someone gave it to him. But like the Russians hate him. The Swedish didn't like some of the things he did. The English hate him. He publishes stuff about the governments around the world that are corrupt, period.
Yeah, the U.S. is still trying to extradite him to America from England.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Trump should have pardoned him. I think he should have pardoned Snowden too, but Snowden's a trickier situation.
Okay, I do not agree with how Snowden was treated because anyone here that's been in the military, you guys know that if you're
they tell you to blow a whistle.
If you're higher ups that are disobeying disobeying the Constitution or breaking the law, you are required to say something. And when
it's your duty.
It's your duty. So when it goes all the way up to, say, the president, what is your duty at that point? Your
duty still to the people.
Yep, your duty is still to the people. And you have to blow the whistle.
Do you think Snowden went all the way to the president before he went to WikiLeaks?
No, I think he was honestly afraid at that point in time because the president at the time actually had a history of retaliating against whistleblowers.
Which is funny because he was also the guy who passed the whistleblower act saying, go ahead and blow a whistle.
Yeah.
Saying that you won't be punished for blowing a whistle. Then the man had to flee the country and live in an airport for years.
Yeah, but look at what happened to the whistleblowers at Toma in Wisconsin at the VA structure. They're no longer working for the VA and they can't get a federal job anywhere.
Of course not, because they're terrorists, right?
They're quote terrorists. I've actually met one of these people. He's a good person. The guy, I'm not going to name names, but yeah, I've actually met one of the guys. He's working at a Goodwill. He was working at a Goodwill up in Toma, and the dude blew the whistle on the Candyland incident that happened in Toma, the Toma County VA up in Wisconsin.
Is that the one that gave everyone AIDS?
Actually, no, and I'm not going to go into that one. This is the one where they were giving everyone painkillers.
Okay. All right.
I was actually exposed in that AIDS incident. I was going to the dentist at the time, so.
I know. All right, back on topic. I have to talk about the inflation. Okay, inflation is pissing everyone off. What else is pissing everyone off?
Mask mandate.
Yeah, COVID restrictions in general. So they're hitting at dates, but I don't have an Epoch Times account, Brian.
Yes, you do.
Well, okay, you're right. I do apparently. For some reason, it still didn't work. Now that I think about it. Well, no, you're right. I remember we went through this whole thing last time, but it still gave me a hard time, and I can't get into it.
Well, yeah, but basically,
it opened anyway.
Fauci's he's changing. He's saying that all COVID-19 restrictions may end in the U.S.
He hit a date, I guess, but yeah. See, I clicked
by the end of the year. He's at the end of 2022.
Oh, just in time for the elections.
Well, that's a little late for the elections. It needs to end before that.
Well, end of the year, I'm assuming it would mean end of the third quarter, beginning of or anywhere in the fourth quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Elections are in November.
Yep. Like second Tuesday in November or first Tuesday in November.
Well, they need to end like 90 days before the election so people can forget.
Exactly. You need it close to the election window so that you need it right up to the window. So people go, oh, look at the Democrats solved this problem. Now we all get our freedoms back right before they rip them back out from underneath you after.
Yep. That is on the prediction page that COVID will be over by the midterms. And that was there from Jeffrey put that up there.
Just like the New York mayor is like, hey, elect me, I'm going to take care of crime. He get elected, he didn't do nothing.
No, and they're complaining about the crime in New York now. Like this big deal leftist that was saying, defund the police. Yeah. And now coming up like, I'm watching people walk into stores with bags and just fill them up and walk out.
Uh-huh.
Well, what did you think defunding the police was going to do? You know? You thought crime was going to go down when you let prisoners out because of COVID and then fired the police? It's Claire stuffs her face with a pizza. Hey, yo, the middle finger. You know that's a French thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Frogs. They used to be such badass warriors.
The Franks.
Yeah, they used to be way back in the day. Seriously. Yeah,
when they used to be called the Franks, not the French.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like that prediction's coming true exactly as we said it would. Now, here we go. I'm going to add on to this prediction. If they get reelected, another surge is going to be so nasty immediately that they have to put all these restrictions back on us.
All the way so we can do mail-in voting?
Yes. Well, not just mail-in voting, but the more they can keep people apart from each other and divide them, the more likely they are to stay in office. You know this, right?
Yep.
That's been their only technique for the last, 5-6 years, has been divide people.
I've been going on for a while. We just never noticed it.
Well, I mean, Hillary Clinton was the one who made it very clear to everyone when she said deplorable. Versus even Joe Biden pretending like, I'm going to unify everyone except for all these disgusting people that deserve to die.
One of the things we're forgetting about Hillary, though, is there's people still willing to follow her.
And I'm still with her.
Is it? I heard she's making a comeback.
Oh my! People like the comeback.
If Hillary Clinton would run for office again, I might put my name in the hat. No, really, I honestly think I have a better chance of winning the president of the United States than Hillary Clinton.
Pull a Bernie, like, hey, look, I can get out of this race if you pay me off.
Buy me a house.
Bernie's got money. He's a millionaire.
You could get 4 houses like Bernie.
Isn't he the world's richest socialist?
Probably.
No, that's not true at all. Look at Venezuela. There's a handful of very wealthy socialists there.
Bernie actually had a good shot at winning if he had pulled out of the Democratic primary and gone independent after he had
got the shaft from Hillary.
Yeah, well, after he'd accrued his following is what I'm thinking. If Bernie had pulled out and gone independent instead of capitulating to the Democratic Party, I think he would have had a shot at winning in comparison.
Because I think he would have ended up like any other third party candidate. He would have ended up like Gary Johnson and gotten beaten by D's nuts. No, seriously, Gary Johnson got beat by D's nuts. He was a libertarian candidate.
You voted for D's nuts.
I have before. I voted for Mickey Mouse before.
I voted for fucking George Lucas before. So
I voted for Chuck Norris.
I've voted for Chuck Norris before. Not all presidency, by the way. I haven't had this many presidential elections. I voted for my wife before, which is funny because on the same ballot, she voted for me for the same job. It was some local thing, I think.
Either one of you got it,
huh? No, but we almost did. It was something in the town, like, oh yeah, who do you want to do? Whatever. And like, oh, I just wrote it in her name. She did the same. It's like, what are the odds of that crap?
Luckily, she wrote in your name to cancel out your vote.
Oh yeah, had she written her name too, she might have won.
Is it a paid gig?
Oh yeah. Oh no, it was a local Pembroke government thing, I think, right? Yeah.
A little bit of pay.
Anyway, carry us for a minute. I got to find something.
All right. So, fact checkers are coming out saying that there really were no crack pipes in part of the crack pipe funding distribution system.
The glass bowls, the tiny little bowls with that.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, they replaced them with mouthpieces. So I'm just gonna go into this one. They were originally pipes, and then they replaced them with swappable mouthpieces.
So they got rid of the pipe and gave them mouth condoms.
You know, like.
Yes. But what do they call that one that the dudes can use so they don't get like herpes on their face versus an actual. Because, you know, typically speaking, a typical rubber is good enough to prevent herpes from a penis.
Chap dam. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, there's something that you can put over your face that you can do all that without getting the herpes.
I think it's pantyhose.
Oh, God, yes. That was good. Put pantyhose in your face. You won't get herpes. What? There they are.
This ain't gonna protect shit. This ain't gonna protect shit. Fuck y'all.
Forfeiting.
Yeah, they definitely had the first fact check that came from Snopes. But we already mentioned this. It was like, no, it also has meth pipes and condoms and heroin needles. What? So yeah, they went and changed what was in it. Now it's like some kind of face condom, so you can touch your crack pipe.
Yeah, they're still the needles are still in there though.
Yeah. Oh, they are. Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't go like. Actually, the pipes are not cracked. Okay, the glass bowl, they're intact, okay? They're not broken.
Someone asked me, wow, at work, because I brought this up, they go, well, what's the difference between a crack pipe and a weed pipe? And I explained the difference.
Yeah.
Well, the dude was like,
there was a difference.
well, okay,
yeah, there's a difference.
You
okay.
actually smoke marijuana. Like you light it like tobacco. You actually put the flame into it and you burn the stuff and you inhale the smoke from it.
Mhm.
Oh, you do, and with crack, you just inhale the smoke.
Well, yeah. You put it inside of a glass chamber, then you heat it from underneath, and that heats it up, and then you inhale the vapors off of it. It's called freebasing, I believe.
I mean,
I wouldn't know.
That's what he's like. How do you know the difference? Like, I don't know. I went to school for law enforcement. You know? The different crimes.
That's the excuse. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
I spent a couple weeks.
I don't have a weed pipe in my drawer right here on my desk. I don't, even though it's legal in my state. I don't.
Crack pipes.
It's like I watch a lot of movies. Okay.
Crack kills.
I don't have a weed pipe right here in my desk.
Well, let's be fair here. It's like, if you're talking about targeting the Black community to ruin them, and they said that like it was a common theory that the white man created this crap to destroy the Black community by introducing it to their communities, because it really did. It devastated a lot of the Black population. Granted, it only takes a tiny percentage of the population to ruin it for everyone.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got a 13% of the nation population, and it's typically concentrated into certain areas. All you need is a handful of crackheads to ruin the entire area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is bad enough that this crack is an issue, and guys are going to prison forever. And now we're going to hand out crack pipes. It's like, here's your crack pipe. Walk outside and smoke it right in front of that police officer so we can throw you in prison. Isn't this the exact thing that the left was complaining about and rioted and burned cities down over? Was
Yep.
It's like, hey, let's go arrest him again because we let him out because of COVID. And that was stupid. So let's hand him crack pipes so we can put him back in prison.
I honestly know crackheads that would be like, "Is this a trap?"
That I said, I was like, "This is a trap." Like Admiral Akbar.
Yeah,
it's a trap.
Or any guy that I date.
Oh my God. We need to make more progress on that other show thing we were talking about, but
I asked you to send me the information. I've got everything else set up.
I know I'm really bad about this shit. It took forever for me to even figure out how to do this show. I'll get to it. I will. I promise. I'm just bad.
Well, I've done everything. The ball's just in your court. You've seen that I've been working on it. So
I know you have. I still need to figure out how to do this. Anyway, moving back from the crack pipes and talk about what a dumbass Biden is.
He's changing the COVID rules.
I mean, I'm a little upset about the crack pipe thing because I wish I would have known they were looking for designers. I would have come out with nice design and sell it, you know.
I would have started making crack pipes for the government to buy and hand out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get that government contract.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to make crack pipes and sell crack pipes, right? I'm just not allowed to say it's for smoking crack.
Well, yeah, that's how they do it in Virginia with their tobacco pipes.
Oh, you can't even buy a pipe just for weed anymore yet?
No, not yet.
You will, you know, right?
It's still for tobacco use only.
Okay, well, that's coming soon. If you're allowed to grow your own plants, they're going to allow you to buy pipes for marijuana.
Yeah, they'll have to.
Well, they don't necessarily have to, but they will. Well, no, then the vendor can explain stuff to some people that don't quite understand the difference between different kinds of stuff, and you might get a better product. Because you can actually say what you want.
You also might get more common knowledge, which would help.
This is gonna be government issues. Like, look, it's government issue, okay?
That's speaking of the Virginia marijuana thing. How do you think they're gonna go full on? You can buy it in the store
next year.
No shit, huh?
There was talk about changing. It's 2023 that they were talking, or maybe 2024. They were talking about bumping it up a year, and it does. I don't know if it's going to go through or not.
So test the waters by letting people, not arresting people for having a little bit,
right.
Let them grow some plants, see how this goes. If it doesn't get out of control, maybe we'll open up a dispensary. And they'll probably do a medicinal dispensary for us, like every other state.
We already got that. We already got that.
Oh, there you go. So you might be getting ready for a recreational buy it in the store, like a pack.
Well, you're allowed to grow 5 plants right now. So.
Oh, it sounds like I might be moving to Virginia soon.
Massachusetts right now, you can have 3 plants per grown adult.
We got one going now over here.
Up to 6 plants here.
It's 4 in Michigan.
Realistically, though, like, what am I gonna do with 3 plants of weed if I'm only growing it for myself? Like, okay, if you're growing it outside, granted you don't get as big a crop, but if you're gonna put the effort in, you can build a hydroponic setup with like a perfect nutrient system for like seriously for like $150 at Home Depot. And it's reusable. It's like if you grew 3 plants with all this great stuff, with the grow lights and all the indoor grow, you would have way too much flower. You wouldn't know what to do with it.
You'd sell it.
I'm not allowed to sell it. I'm allowed to give away an ounce to a person. And that's it. I'm not allowed to sell it. So like if you come by my place, if I have like
Claire's looking for her ounce.
Well, if I have like 4 pounds and you swing by, I can give you an ounce. That's okay, no problem. But I'm not allowed to sell it.
I'll go back to my place and just bring ounce at a time back to my place.
What would happen if I actually started growing plants here like that? What would happen is you come to my place and you bring like or a keg of beer.
Yeah, there you go.
You leave the keg of beer behind, and I give you an ounce. Like
the beer fairy.
Yeah, well, yeah, no transaction happened. You brought me beer.
It was a donation.
And I gave you some free weed. Yeah. There's not even
no
a
money
cash trail.
exchange.
I would totally be down for this. When are we all moving to Virginia?
Oh shoot. I'm hoping in 2 years actually.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's do something really stupid and let's all pool our funds and buy a place in like Virginia, West Virginia, a big ranch on like 50 acres. Build a compound and make all we do is stupid shows like the Timcast guys.
Yeah, so we could get fucking swatted.
No, I do. They handle
it's
it way
too far
better
away
than
from
we
the
would.
water. I gotta be close to my boat.
Oh! I was looking at some places in Virginia, out in Gloucester, that have river access on the property with a dock built in.
I don't have a lot of a good record with sailing in rivers.
But that's why you don't put the
Just leave it
sail.
parked there.
You don't put the sail up, dude. You use the trolling motor.
It didn't help any. I still ran aground.
Oh, that sucks.
You, sir, are no Viking.
No, he is a Viking.
He not to run.
He's not Viking enough to sail up a river, damn it.
Well, then they run aground to get out of the boat. That's why they were such shallow boats. Anyway, back to these this COVID crap. How everyone's pissed off about COVID, and Biden is rethinking his COVID policy. Like Ray said, they got the polls. The polls showed up, and like, oh, everyone's pissed. Everyone.
I mean, did they change his diaper and he finally realized that everyone's pissed? I really have to ask this stupid question because he really doesn't change his opinion that often. And when he does, it's an outside influence.
Well, every now and then, Joe has a lucid moment.
That's overridden. No, Joe is like the most programmed president ever. So if he's openly changing his position on something, somebody's pulling the puppet strings, whether it be his wife, Obama, Kamala, the soulless ginger that does the news briefings. Somebody is pulling the strings.
Soulless ginger. Saki. Sakari! Banzai! I honestly, I hate to say it, but it almost seems like it's Harris. Because at least twice Biden's called her the president, hasn't he?
Oh, more than twice.
Yeah.
Like, I keep hearing Obama's really in charge. I don't think he is. I don't think Obama really cares anymore.
So if Harris actually is pulling the string and this is what we get, well, it would not be bad to impeach him then. We're another double.
Well, honestly, I think if Harris took office, the hot war would start.
Yeah.
Because everybody's afraid of her. That's why they don't want to impeach Biden.
I don't think our enemies are afraid of Harris. I think they think she's a joke. I think the American politics, we're afraid of her. But if we got her in office and she has this altered ego because everyone in America is afraid of her, she's going to go to the world stage saying that everyone's afraid of me. And she will start the hot war just out of sheer ignorance and stupidity.
I don't think just a hot war worldwide. I think the hot civil war. I think if she took office, those targeted assassinations would happen, and it wouldn't be. Now, okay, if I wanted to overthrow the United States government, I wouldn't try to take over a building or burn down a building. I'm not playing any of this. I'm writing a book. I would have probably 6 or 7 teams of well-trained shooters, and there'd be 2 people on a team, and they would each be assigned to a particular person in office, and they would have a 4-hour window to take these people out that they had to take out, and do them all at once. And it'd be, the president, the VP, the Speaker of the House, the Secretary of State. Basically take out the entire chain down until it's like
okay,
Elizabeth Cheney taking office. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to say this much. You could probably destabilize the government with 10 people dead.
That would do enough to cause uproar and a giant conflict within the nation and take the government down.
Pretty much, to simplify what you just said, power vacuum.
Exactly. Create a power vacuum in 4 hours by having a whole, a handful of teams. So you have 2 shooters.
Do you want to know the scariest part about this politician's theory? Because no.
It would fall apart and it would fill right back in.
Not only that it would work, but do you know how far, I actually know guys could probably pull this off. Do you know how far the shooter could be away from the target?
Depends on how trained they were. If you get some
I
US
know
Navy SEALs,
some podunk rednecks from Montana that could pull this off. Do you know how far that the average, seriously, do you know how far?
100 yards for an accurate shot to be able to be sure that you don't miss. No, you're not getting
over a mile. I actually know guys that shoot long distance.
Okay. How many dudes do you know with freaking Barrett 50 cal rifles? That's what I'm saying. You need for
over a mile. But I'm saying I actually know guys that use hot loaded rounds that are specially calibrated and specially loaded. They can shoot over a mile and hit a human-sized silhouette target consistently.
Yes, there are very few rifles on this planet that can fire a mile accurately.
Actually, no, there's very few military rifles that can do that. A lot of rifles in civilian hands are underestimated because people don't consider it. They're like, well, the military uses this caliber for this. But no, this is a lot. My point is, this is a lot more feasible to pull
anyone
off.
Realizes.
Yeah, this is a lot more feasible than anyone realizes, is because if you have a shooter that's been trained for many years that can pull this off, especially with a given gun and caliber.
But where am I going to find 20 of these people willing to do this? A shot at a mile distance, there's probably less than 100 people on the planet that could make that shot reliably. Even if you're good, a mile is a lot. There's so many variables to take into account. You're assuming that there's no wind, that, you know what I mean? That the wind doesn't change halfway down.
Yeah, I know all the names of this stuff. You have the wind, the rotation of the earth, and all this other stuff.
Exactly. You're taking in curvature into effect here.
I'm not even...
Exactly. You're taking into effect curvature of the earth.
Oh, you're also forgetting rotation of the earth, too.
You talking to your cooter?
No, I'm trying to get my on this. But no, there's long distance shooters consistently pull off shots like this, and there's actually an entire league for this. But what I'm saying though is it is feasibly possible to get 20 people in this country. I could get 20 people from the state of Montana to sign up.
That are willing to try to overthrow the government and assassinate people.
It's Montana.
Yeah, I got a feeling the average person doesn't want to assassinate government officials and start the civil war, which might lead to a global war because, hey, the United States is weak.
Very, very, very true. But at the same point is what I'm saying is it's far more feasibly likely than most people realize. You get one shooter that knows what he's doing. They have cheat sheets. They have scopes that do half the work for you nowadays. They're very expensive. Yes, but this is completely plausible.
Yes.
And that's the scary thing, though. That is the scary thing. I'm not even talking about just 20 high-ranked shooters from leagues. I'm talking about one high-ranked shooter from a league that teaches everyone else how to replicate what he does.
It takes a little bit of practice to get good at shooting that far, but really, if I could find 20 guys that could take a shot from a mile away, I could depose the American government. I definitely don't want to, but I realistically, it's only going to take 20 dudes that can shoot really well to take out 10 people maybe within a 4-hour window. No one would know what to do.
Yeah.
Now that's just also assuming I have $1 billion.
Huh? Now that we're on the terrorist watch list, let's move on to the next subject.
First of all, you're all already on a terrorist watch list. You're all American veterans, and you're already on a watch list anyway.
Well, that's been since Obama, but let's keep moving on.
Senator Brahm says independents are almost in lockstep with the GOP on many issues.
Yeah, who is Senator Brahm? Braun. There's only 100 senators. I've never heard of this guy or woman.
I'm looking it up.
But yeah, like we said, though, this Overton window keeps moving left, and now the average person, the average American's looking around, realizing
he's from Indiana.
Okay,
that explains everything.
Now the average American's looking around, like, what the hell happened? It's like, you're not even allowed to tell the government, I don't like that. And that was actually like the giant thing that the left wing did in the 60s and 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just protest. And now they're saying protesting is, I say that they did it all 4 years under Trump, but they actually rioted and called it a protest.
They also got shot in those protests in the 60s and 70s.
Louis Gohmert is
accusing
the DOJ of reading his email, and he's actually said he brought proof this time.
Yeah, we brought this up Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure this is a surprise to everyone but Clay when I mentioned it, right? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, holy crap, they opened his mail and everything. Yeah, he brought the proof of, like, these guys were dumb enough to stamp it DOJ.
They don't care anymore. They really don't care.
Because they know no one. They know if you vote their way, you're going to look the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Separate story. Bring me back on track quickly. Daughter's birthday was yesterday. Today we brought her out to this place. It's one of the places that kids play indoors, like the ball pits and the slides. They're huge. You know what I mean?
Dave and Buster's.
Kind of, but for little kids, little kids. Like Ray, you know Blippi?
Yeah.
You know the stuff that Blippi goes and plays in?
I know Blimpy.
Yeah, we brought her to one of those places that guy would go and do his thing and play into the big giant whatever. It was shit, so much fun. I forgot I was going with this.
Email DOJ.
Yeah, this is going somewhere. There was a good connection, but I already forgot it. I got excited thinking about it. Oh, she had so much fun. She was playing with so many kids.
My boy liked Blimpy so much he got his underwear too. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Spider-Man underwear, Blimpy. That guy's making money there.
He's making money out the ass, and it's creepy as hell what he does.
I think he's a pedophile.
Substitute him.
Probably. Most of these people are.
But
they can't substitute Blimpy.
They did. There's another guy replaced him, but kids will not tell. I was like, why he looks a little bit different? Like, oh yeah, somebody else.
Oh yeah, this is where I was going with it. I had my sister come with her kids to play, and I mentioned to her 3 months ago, my prediction about the COVID stuff going away at midterms.
Did she agree you're right?
No, I was so wrong. And she finally,
of course.
I'll admit, she was cool. She finally got to the point when she said agree to disagree. Usually people that vote Democrat never get to that point.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Probably because I'm related to her. But it took everything I had not to just throw it all on her face today. You're like, oh, look, Fauci's saying it. The CDC saying it. Like, oh, look, right before midterms.
Not till the mayor of Boston's not saying it, though.
No, but we're going to let these mask mandates expire.
There you go. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, just let him expire, you know? And I was like, it wasn't just me. Everyone on this show agreed with me. It's like, yeah, you're right. That's exactly what they're going to do because they're going to try to get reelected and they might even try to bring it back right after.
Yeah.
Which they've actually brought up. They're talking about they're preparing for the next variant already. It's like, as you're taking out wave mandates.
I think that the American people will never subjugate themselves to what we did from this. I think we've learned from it. So.
Bullshit.
Nah, dude, people don't learn.
Everyone just told you to shut the fuck up, Brian.
They're gonna vote Democrat. Look what happened in New York. You're gonna be vote Democrat and gonna go back to mandates.
I'm sorry, Brian. I really have to say this. This was a testing of the water. This was
compliance.
This was to see how far they can push it before they decide to make it lukewarm for a longer period of time until we're living like this constantly in the next 10 years.
Was it the Milgram experiment? What was the rat hope one?
I don't know.
When the rats, they put them in the water, they could swim for 20 minutes or whatever, and they would drown. But if you took them out at like 19 and a half minutes and let them breathe and eat and rest and put them back in, they could do it for like 6 hours. They could swim for 6 hours.
It's similar to that concept.
That's
very similar.
They're testing our compliance to how far they can push. They're going to pull us out of the water for a little bit and drop us right back in, knowing that we can do it longer now because we know we're going to get saved right before the end.
Yep.
That's in my predictions list. They're going to bring all this crap back just as bad, but for longer. They're going to try to bring it back for longer.
Well, these psychotic fucks, and I'm sorry to say that, but these psychotic people, they want control. They don't want to keep you safe. They want compliance. So
they want you to be afraid, so they stay in power.
Yeah, pretty much. But I know.
I think the United States is about to get its period. And by that, I mean the red wave is coming. And we're going to see a lot of change happen because I think the average American's not dumb enough to fall for they're taking our masks off and let me go back, let me do this right before I get to vote for them. I feel the average American's smarter than that.
Oh, yeah.
And I do not have a lot of faith in the average American being smart.
I don't even think that they're that smart.
I guess technically you've never done a group project.
I have actually. I've done plenty of group projects, and I've also spoken to the teacher or instructor and said, "Hey, I did all the work on this."
Yeah. See,
usually they don't.
Say
but
this much, I do not believe that the average American is this intelligent. I believe that people that live outside of the cities are this intelligent.
So you city urban liberal types,
they don't care. They're going to vote. They're going to vote against our best interest 90% of the time.
By the way, I directly ripped that off, but a city urban liberal type is cult.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that they're a cult, but at the same point is I don't believe they're ever going to let this go. They have power currently, and they don't want to lose it.
They don't, though. They have political power. Really.
They've got cultural power.
Okay, but take a step back here and look at the whole situation. Who produces the food?
Farmers.
Who makes the food ready to eat? Who transports the food? Who stocks the food? Who sells the food? These aren't the wealthy elites that are telling us we're all douchebags. The essential workers should tell everyone.
I understand
that we can get by. That 90% of the population is doing jack shit.
Until the essential workers cut these people the fuck off.
The essential workers need to stop working.
Tonight. The essential workers really need to cut these people off, because right now it is what, 4, 5, maybe 6 very blue cities dictating the destiny of our country, where everything else is red.
And they're passing stupid laws that's telling the farmers how they can raise their farm. And they don't realize that when they change this law, that means there's not enough food for everyone anymore. Because in New York,
destiny at this point in time is controlled by the major cities, which is what my point was.
Yeah,
but
New York,
until
Los Angeles.
we cut them off like a bad drug addict, they're not going to realize. Seriously? How?
Yeah.
Trucker convoys. Why not? Let's copy the Canadians and lock down their systems.
Oh, so you're saying cut them off in general from the supplies of the essential workers?
Yes. That would be the best way to do it. A workers' revolution that they've been arguing for, but you finally see it and they don't like the outcomes because it's the bourgeoisie versus the working class. And I will use their words against them.
I'm pretty sure I just saw a hammer and sickle fly across the screen here.
Bourgeoisie, isn't that the middle class?
No, the bourgeoisie,
the workers' uprising.
Yeah, it's the uprising. And these people, they constantly argue about a workers' uprising to change the government. But they don't like the idea of a workers' uprising because this is what Canada looks like right now.
And the workers are saying, hey, what the hell? Canada's like, you're a bunch of terrorists. It's like, you do realize that these are the people that make sure you get to eat every day.
Yeah.
Well, just look at what we've done to the American farmer.
Bourgeoisie is the upper middle class.
We made them rich with ethanol.
No, we didn't. But the bourgeoisie is an upper middle class, exactly. And they typically think they're better than other people, but they, typically speaking, your bourgeoisie had a lucky circumstance somewhere. Like they managed to get better exposure, or someone died and they fell into money, but they think they're better than you.
And I'm sorry to circle back to this. I really am. I went on my rant, but yeah, the point is these people that control the United States right now are very much a form of like Soviet Union. Well, pre-Soviet Union, they did have the bourgeoisie, the Marie Antoinettes, which are very much a French reference.
But the bourgeoisie would have been Robespierre.
Okay.
Because he helped lead the revolution, and then they cut his head off too.
Yeah, but you're talking about the simple fact that, like, it's most of these people, they're idiots. They think that we're for the working class, and then all of a sudden the working class turns on them and they're completely SOL.
Well, because these people think the bourgeoisie think they are working class because they're middle class.
They're not.
Because they work, they think they're working class, but they're doing non-essential jobs. Like society can literally survive without them.
Yep.
And for some reason, they still think that their opinion matters. But like the dude making your food, let's be fair, his opinion matters more than the masseuse therapist. And a masseuse therapist is actually a pretty sweet thing that we can do as a society because we've grown so much. So the guy making your food doesn't hurt all the time.
Yeah.
But why does the person who rubs him and makes his back hurt less make more money than the guy who makes sure that you don't die and your whole family?
I completely agree with you on that one, but let's move on from the subject. I've had my tirade. I completely apologize for it. It's Saturday night. I'm a little bit inebriated. I'm just saying,
if the actual essential workers said, fuck you, we're not working, the bourgeoisie would not be able to fill in and provide food and transport food.
Not for very long.
They don't know how. They don't know how to drive the truck. They don't know how to slaughter a cow. They don't know how to butcher a cow. They don't know how to pick corn,
But he goes
to
show
do
you.
That. They go to local grocery store. That's what it means that.
But no, actually, if Marx ever had a point that's correct, it was the fact that the lower people do control the economy. If they don't realize it, and it actually makes people uncomfortable when the lower levels of the economy rise up to stop the economy. That's in fact the only point Marx ever had that I will take seriously.
And you know what? It was an excellent point, but well, actually, he made a bunch of really good points. He went in the wrong direction with them.
Okay, I will agree with you on that point.
This is how things work. You guys have all the control. But the problem is when you go down that Marxist route, you end up with Marxism.
Yeah. Very true. I will say that Marx's observations were entirely astute. They were very much enlightening, but the direction he went with them, wrong.
Well, Marxism is actually a really good form for a very small government.
Yeah.
But even down to the family unit, communism is incredibly effective. Like everyone or in the household, like we have 3 families in the household, or a commune, there's 1,000 people in the commune. But once you get to a certain point, you're going to have people say, if I sit here and don't do shit, I'm going to get the same anyway.
Yeah.
And then that spread, then all of a sudden no one's producing and no one gets anything.
That's where the phrase, he who does not work shall not eat, comes into play.
Yeah, the hand, Lincoln, the hand that planted the food should get to eat the food first or something like that.
Something like that.
Geez, out. If I saw that coming, I would have been ready. But anyway, I know
what's
I went way
up
off
with
topic.
The targeted assassinations?
This is what I was bringing up earlier. Kinzinger is warning about these targeted assassinations, and just like I said, if I was going to take out the United States government, I would have 5 or 6 people taken out within like 4 hours. Like, have timers. Don't use radios because that's too easy to intercept. Excuse me. Remember the direct connect chirp thing you get with Nextels?
Yeah.
You can still download that tech on your phone for free. Install that crap and everyone go chirp, chirp. And like, all right, or even the team and 2 people can shoot at once to make sure that the shot makes whatever. I'm just saying all you need is a handful of people taken out in a couple hours, and there'll be no one knowing what's going on. It'll create a vacuum. Everyone will say, I'm in charge. And then all of a sudden people will just capitalize on their opportunity.
Would Nancy Pelosi be one of those people?
Oh, absolutely. She's the Speaker of the House. She's one of the people like in line for presidency.
You would really just need 4 people before you could throw the government into a complete upset.
At least
President,
down to
President, Vice President.
Yep.
Then you need the Speaker of the House and the person in charge of the Senate next to the Vice President.
And the Secretary of Treasury.
Okay, 5 people. Literally, after those 5, your country's fucked because the Soviet Union didn't lose anybody when it collapsed. You just had people arguing over who was more important than who when it came to aid. And
exactly.
That's what caused the Soviet Union to collapse.
Well, that and Ukraine and Serbia or all these places deciding they were trying to leave at the same time.
Yep, they were trying to leave at the same time. But at the same point is you're talking about leaders that weren't there for a prolonged period of time.
As you're dealing with a bunch of people are still talking about a peaceable divorce, like a split the country. That's impossible.
The federal government wants too much tax revenue at this point in time to talk about a peaceful divorce. It is literally hampering these big cities that require their serfs. Well, to quote Marx, serfs.
Well, yes, but fuck all that. There's no such thing as a peaceful divorce in the United States. We cannot split into 2 or 7 countries. We can't balkanize.
Yeah, we cannot peacefully do anything in this country.
Well, all right, we split into 3 countries, we'll say, right? Who's the rightful United States government? By that, I mean, who gets to keep the Navy bases, the nuclear silos?
Yeah.
The training camps, the Fort Worth. You know what I mean? Who gets to keep the German base? Who gets to keep the base in Rhoda?
I'll volunteer.
Anyone else want to comment on this one? I'm not going to argue this point at all. I am on Testicles' side, so somebody else argue this point.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we can't just have okay, we'll split, because I keep hearing this. Okay, this is gonna sound terrible. This isn't, but from a bunch of Jews in media, and I sound like Hitler saying that, don't I? But I mean, like Sarah Silverman and Seth Rogen, and actually the historically funny Jewish people in the United States that have been really funny for the last 10, 30 years, maybe. But they talk about a peaceful divorce, like, just say fuck it and walk away, We don't have to, but we do. There's nuclear weapons in like Oklahoma. We have nuclear submarines in the Great Lakes. What do we do with this stuff if we split up? That will cause a war in itself.
The region gets to keep whatever bases are there.
Then Montana, whatever side they join, becomes one of the most powerful nuclear arsenals on the planet.
Okay, what about our German army base or our Rhoda, Spain Navy base, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does Turkey instantly become one of the most powerful nuclear countries on Earth? Because we have nukes parked there too.
There you go. Who gets those nukes? Huh?
We don't know where the nukes are.
Right. But no, that's my point. It's like, how do we split up the assets? It's like, this isn't a pearl necklace and this isn't family heirlooms that are jewels. These are nuclear weapons and military bases,
Well, hopefully Nancy Pelosi doesn't bring us to this point.
Well, she'd be the first one, the third one assassinated.
But she's also been accused of being behind a targeted investigation of Republicans.
I'm not surprised.
Good. I do not agree with the fact that the Republicans are the only ones behind this, but good. That woman is so corrupt that the devil himself is taking notes.
I really do need to start following her investment portfolio.
Yeah, that woman.
She agreed to do the ban on stock market investing if the whole government did, not just Congress.
Oh, by the way, they should include that to their spouses.
She'd be penniless. The key.
Well, it's already illegal for the insider trading. It really is. But exactly, her husband makes all the investments that she gets the info for.
We already talked about Pelosi telling the U.S. Olympic athletes not to talk about China.
Did we?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
We did.
So we brought up the whole but she was all about Colin Kaepernick doing his protest because she said you're here to perform as an athlete, not make a political statement.
Yeah.
I was so pissed about that.
Honestly,
it's all about China. The world is too afraid to anger China.
Isn't that literally what Trump ran on?
Yeah.
China.
Honestly, if you're an athlete and the Joe Biden, the way he pulled up people out of Afghanistan, what would you go volunteer to go to that games, dude?
Well, the problem is these people train for decades to get to the Olympics, and they only happen every 4 years. Sometimes they only happen every 6 years.
It's every 2 years now.
4 years.
Well, COVID screwed it all up.
They do a summer games and a winter games that are offset, and they're 4 years apart, so they offset them, so it's 2 years per game.
Unless COVID hits.
Yes.
But I'm not sure how Beijing actually won the Winter Olympics, since this is the first Olympics that's ever had 100% artificial snow.
Really?
Yes.
That's unfortunate. They did a Winter Olympics in Colorado a while ago, didn't they?
Yeah. And they done it in Lake Placid, New York. You know, but but U.S. has kind of been ostracized by the International Olympic Committee because we haven't had an Olympics in the U.S. in a long time.
Don't participate then. Like, for real.
I'm not watching it.
No, I mean, we shouldn't have sent athletes to China.
Completely agree.
Huh?
Completely agree.
We shouldn't have sent athletes.
Well, we didn't send reporters to China.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look what story we're telling, because the reporters that were sent there were from the Dutch are what
Yep, the Dutch.
Newfoundland is Dutch.
No, yeah. Newfoundland's Canada.
Oh, jeez, you're
Newfoundland is in Canada.
You're right. Who are the Dutch?
Denmark.
Norway.
Norway.
It's Denmark?
No, it's not Norway.
Sorry, I was picturing the peninsula sticks out of Europe.
They take history. They take geography lessons from us.
Hey, I'm actually really good about geography usually. I'm usually very accurate.
When you're not drunk.
Yes, and I'm usually pretty accurate on this show too with my geography.
Okay.
I
completely agree with El Guapo. Okay.
Yeah. No, take your geography advice from somebody else. Don't listen to us. This is entertainment purpose.
Oh no, this is entertainment purposes. But I can find El Salvador and Ukraine on a map. I bet you very few people can do that.
We're not here to tell you news. We're here to talk about the news.
I can do that.
We're here to make the news.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping to get a hit piece.
So
yes, we are.
Because that means that you're actually making people starting to listen to you and you're scaring the news.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Ukraine.
Right back to Ukraine. Apparently,
Jeffrey can find on the map.
Yeah,
well, it's not that difficult.
I can find it too. It's pretty easy.
It says Ukraine right across it.
Unless you're looking at a map from the 80s.
Well, that's very true. You're right.
I can find it.
It would just say USSR and it'd be a third of the map.
Yeah. Well,
so small.
Apparently, there's 30,000 Americans in the Ukraine. The State Department has now warned to leave the country ASAP.
Oh man, I'd love to see Kiev.
I don't want to see us leave Ukraine. I really don't.
Look, man, if you're in Ukraine and Joe Biden's in charge and Russia's at the gate,
you're fucked.
You know what? You know what time it is. It's time to fucking leave.
No, it's time to leave because Joe Biden's going to tell them to go in there and kill you. Because
you had an hour-long conversation with
Vladimir
Putin on the red phone today, the hotline.
An hour. He managed to speak for an hour and not.
That's what the newscast says. The press release.
Probably startling.
Go ahead. I'm looking at other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, I'll like if you're in Ukraine, you're an American citizen, get the fuck out, man. Like, don't even fucking hesitate.
Our military technology is so beyond what Russia is at the moment.
It's not even the military. It's the way he handling shit. Like, he's gonna.
Biden, I will completely admit, is fucking it up. Honestly, if I was in the Ukraine and President Trump was there, I wouldn't worry two shits to Sunday.
Right.
But honestly, thank you, somebody, for inserting that comment there. But honestly, though,
this is the guy that's making the decisions.
So that was Joe Biden?
Yeah, true or not, Stop Under Pressure is a Joe Biden direct quote.
Yes, not just a direct quote, that's a recording.
The crack pipe in chief. I mean, the commander in chief.
Yes. Go figure, he's handing out crack pipes.
Yep. But
and then that crack.
Here's the problem with Russia. They actually have some really advanced tech, but it's too expensive for them to produce. So they're actually dealing with what same stuff American military is modernizing in the past 10 years to fight a near peer. But Russia is still set up to fight insurgency.
Well, yes. And to be The Russians took a lot of losses in World War II, but it was because they built garbage in mass quantity. Well, they had, 250,000 tanks, but the tanks were easy to destroy, but they had so many of them. And that seems to have worked for them in the past because they could just sacrifice their people.
Not like how China is?
What? The Russians.
China.
I'm just saying the Russians built a bunch of garbage in World War II that got destroyed. They left busted tanks.
They were the first ones to innovate slanted armor, which allowed them to advance on Germany anti-tank divisions several times over with their T-41s, I believe.
Yes, and they had like 85 of those, but they had a bazillion cheap tanks that got blown up if they got shot with a friggin' rifle.
They were also the first ones to innovate a lot of stuff, like the Papasha, which was an SMG that had a drum mag that dwarfed the MP40.
Oh, and they came up with a
They
Merv.
had some amazing technology. I'm talking about currently. They do not have the Soviet backing to keep up with their technological developments currently, which is why they're 20 years behind. I'm not talking about their military doctrine, which really hasn't stayed the same since the 1960s. I'm talking about their ability to keep up with their technology currently. So in World War II, Russians had some incredibly good stuff that did change changed how World War II went. How you phrased it made it sound like Russians were crap.
No, they had some great stuff, but the Germans had better technology. They always have.
Germans had better technology than the United States in World War II.
They still do now. Look at the cars they make. There's no word for tow truck in German.
Why not?
Because they don't need to tow German cars. This is what I'm saying. The Germans have superior. They invented the automobile. Volkswagen was the first car, and it translates to the people's car.
The people's car.
Didn't they invent the Yugo?
Yes, they were Nazi.
The Yugo is actually Yugoslavian. Yugo stands for Yugoslavian. It was a Soviet Union car.
Even funnier, Ray. Why did the Nova not sell well in Spanish-speaking countries?
Because it means it doesn't go.
Yeah, you don't go. Nova.
No go.
The opposite of that.
No go.
Vamos,
Yeah.
vamos.
So it's just. This is. I'm having fun here.
So when did this Russian warship chase off a U.S. submarine?
No,
that's not that
I
hard.
think.
No, that's not that hard. Chasing off a U.S. submarine, I will say this much, that is not that hard. Do you know what the U.S. military doctrine is for subs?
No, yeah, but it wasn't the fact that they chased them off. It was the fact that they are claiming
Last
that we
question
were
first,
well
shoot
within
later.
the territorial waters. They demanded a surface, that the American subsurface, and they refused. Now, there's no proof besides the Russian word that this actually happened.
Okay.
Well,
so could happen, it could not happen.
This might be the Russians talking a bunch of trash, just like we've been talking a bunch of trash. The Ukrainian, what would we say? Apparently not allowed to call them Ukrainian. Yeah, the president or prime minister we mentioned before even said, or last week, that we're blowing this crap out of proportion.
Yeah, I completely agree with them, but go on.
Well, that like Joe Biden's trying to start a war.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian president said this.
Well, he's trying to do that for a reason.
Yeah.
He's trying to distract people from the inflation and from the southern border.
He's trying to kickstart the economy with a war.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's break this all up and let's focus on philosophy for a second.
Oh, this will be fun. I'm turning up volume on this one.
What did Machiavelli, which is technically a philosophy,
in French?
Machiavelli was Italian.
My apologies. The Romance language sound very similar.
Okay. what did Machiavelli say that when you wanted to unite a country, what was one of the easiest ways to do it?
War.
Yeah.
A common enemy is actually, I believe, what he said, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, think of it this way. Hitler did the same thing, but his common enemy was supposed to be the Jews. Right?
It doesn't
it
work.
wasn't blonde and blue eyes.
It doesn't work for Hitler because that enemy was internal. Machiavelli specifically speaks about external enemies. But at the same point, Machiavelli also teaches you that if you want to conquer that country and win their hearts, you torture your own troops once you're in that country. So, but one of the easiest ways to put everyone on your side is create a war. What's Biden doing right now?
Circling back.
We've actually been talking about this.
Putting troops in, what's the name? Poland.
Romania.
And well, he just sent another 3,000 troops from 82nd Airborne to Poland.
And not that I'm saying that Joe Biden's trying to start a war. I'm just saying that it makes sense from a philosophy sense at this point. So
we don't need another war. I understand that
I completely agree with you on that.
It would jumpstart the economy. It really would. And I know a lot of people don't understand why.
It would only jumpstart a government-controlled economy.
Yes.
It would not jumpstart a regular economy.
Yes. And then once the war was over, depression would hit because it was giant inflation that paid people to make weapons to go to war. And then all of a sudden, the inflation hits and everyone is poor. And now we don't have a stack of gold to sit on and say we have money because we sold that decades ago and pretended we didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have treasure in the treasury, so
we sold gold that wasn't ours. You know that, right?
Yep.
Like, the Germans still have
sold it.
Huh?
There's no proof we sold it. It's in a different Fort Knox.
Yeah, exactly. The Germans demanded their gold back. Like, okay, it'll take us 20 years to get it. It's like, why? Yeah, you told me it was in a warehouse. It's like, oh yeah.
So let's circle on back to Heather McDonald.
Who?
The comedian.
The bitch that fell down and knocked her head.
Yeah, you guys can do. If you got a video clip to play, go ahead, or a sound, whatever.
I thought I sent to you guys. Didn't I?
No, I know you did.
Oh. I don't got administration powers.
Is it
You want administration powers? You shut the fuck up.
No, I'm good. I'm too crazy with this shit.
Because then you'll screw it all up.
Yep.
Yeah, trust me, y'all don't want to give me administrative powers.
I will. I got the power.
Oh my God, are you lying now? By the sword of omens, give me sight beyond sight. I have the power.
He-Man's the one that
said I fixed it.
Right.
Everybody's a co-host.
No.
Classic. Oh no, crap! I'm gonna get arrested.
No, I'm like Testicles is gonna call on me to do shit now.
God, just call me Jeffrey Yaten, whatever. I don't care. No, really, for a long time I was publishing this under my own name on Facebook.
Okay, Jeff's gonna call on me to do shit now. Fuck all of you.
Not Jeff. Sorry, Jeffrey. Or Yaten. Sorry. I do not go by Jeff.
Okay, Yaten. This dude.
That works.
Yaten.
I'm glad you pronounced it correctly.
Are you kidding me, motherfucker?
It's the wine.
Do you know how many Do you know how many days we've spent on duty together? Fuck you for not saying that. Hey, okay, you know what? Hey, you're pronouncing it correctly. If I don't have it down by now, I'm fucking brain dead.
I'm gonna bring this up again, even though I know I brought it up before. Today I was thinking about the fire on the Bonhomme Rashad.
Yeah.
Once again. And I was thinking, how many people are getting so much trouble for that ship on that fire ship that lasted ship fire that lasted like 5 days?
Yeah.
Like 5 ships got involved and the local fire department.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could think was, even if this was planned and set up to burn, why couldn't the fire team put it out? And I've even said it on the show, like I was hated by my duty section as fire marshal.
Oh, yeah.
I made him run the drill 3 times sometimes on a duty day.
You're cutting in the meal time and video watching time.
Yeah, but you know what? This ship ain't burning down on my watch. You know what I mean? You guys are going to do it right. And I have the authority to make you run this drill again and again and again until we got it right. And more than once, the wife, at the time, girlfriend, and some point, the wife was on the ship because she would come on. She was Air Force. You guys know this. So she could get on base. She would come on ship on my duty days and have dinner with me. But more than once,
usually when they call the drills.
Yeah, exactly. So it ruins your meal. No, and I know it sounds like a dick thing to do, but you have to be prepared for it the worst, or in the middle of the night when you're asleep, right? Because that's how we run drills. You have to be prepared. And everyone hated me, but more than once she'd come on the ship to have dinner with me, and she would see people like walking down the P-way, cussing me out. And she'd be like, "What the fuck?" She'd go down to the mess decks and wait for me, and she'd ding, 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 fire, fire, fire. Just he's running the drill again. He didn't like the way they did the drill. And and I even told her, I was like, I don't want it to be my fault that this ship is lost.
Right.
I don't think you understand what a big responsibility fire marshal is. Like, I literally had command of the ship. Like, I was the captain.
I've never been fire marshal, but I understand being from engineer, what kind of responsibility that is. So,
and usually it was the engineering guys that was super pissed at the topsiders for fucking the drill up.
Yep.
That you had to run against because the engineer's like, get it done. There's some topsider who just didn't give a shit usually.
Oh, he'd be off jerking off in the corner, just be like, "I'm trying to stay awake, man."
All right. What drove me nuts was people that wouldn't do a repeat back. They just refused to repeat it back and say "I." You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You repeat back what was told to you. And you say "I." You say "I understand. And I'm going to pass this on."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if someone didn't give me a repeat back, we will run the drill back. We will run the drill again, no matter what. We have to make sure that it's not telephone. The right message is getting back. That sucked. But yeah, I used to piss everyone off.
But it wasn't
gonna be my it wasn't gonna be my fault that the ship burned down. That was $1 billion warship.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine going to prison for that? The weirdest thing just happened. All right. Someone bring us back on track. I got to go find my sound card and everything else. I just dumped everything off my table.
Okay.
Heather, this is Ray, your topic. You can come back to it.
I think we talked about it early in the beginning of the show.
All right. So we don't need to talk about Heather. Good.
Yeah.
What about Chelsea Handler? Why was she hospitalized?
She was hospitalized for the same thing. I think she had
She fell and hit her head?
Yeah. No, she was hospitalized, actually. And there's 3 people, the famous people that already been hospitalized, fully vaccinated and booster, all juiced up.
Okay. Well, Dave Chappelle raised this stink this week when he told a village council meeting that he was agreed to invest in a housing project, and they tried to throw in some low-income housing in it. And he said, "You can do that. You'll have to find a new investor. I'm out."
Yeah, and people are upset about him because he's like, how you not going to have affordable housing, add on to it? Like, people don't realize, like...
It brings in crime.
It brings in crime, yeah. Poverty...
sounds terrible, but it brings in crime.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say, for example, let's say you spent $600,000 on a house, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been living there for 5 years. You've been doing pretty good, just enjoying your life. Then all of a sudden they're going to say, we're bringing low income housing. And I know it sounds like it's a good idea, but you're bringing in people that make 40 grand a year.
Probably less.
Well, Well, Massachusetts, I'm referring to.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't sound like, oh, that's good. You're helping them find a place to live. Yes, I understand the idea and the actual purpose. But at the same time, now you're bringing in people that cannot afford to live in my community into my community, which means you're bringing in crime because they have to commit crime to survive.
Yeah.
No? If you
Not to survive just for shits and giggles because that's what they're used to.
Well, there's a low income housing area within like 3 miles of my place, and all of the crime in the entire area is right there. I have no idea, Brian.
All right.
I'm having fun, and I know I'm going way off topic, but that's why I highlighted that one section like red, because I expected a whole lot of conversation in that. I do want to bring up this.
I live in a low-income neighborhood, and I'm not even going to defend it. So,
it's just like people's like, why, they're all upset about him. Like, look, he's probably enjoying this little community he lives on. He doesn't want to bring more people to it,
He's in Ohio.
Yeah, in a tiny little area.
And actually, I believe he's in a town too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't want to pay
that. Towns.
Yeah, and you don't pay that much for buying property. You could be nice and settle. He don't need money, He's just happy where he is.
Well, he's got the money. That's the issue. That's the issue. Is he is the money. He was actually investing in this project.
Yeah, and I don't blame him, dude. I would be doing fucking racing hell too, if like I just moving here.
Yeah. Why am I going to invest in this project that's guaranteed to lose money?
Yeah.
And he threatened to pull his money, and they actually changed their plan. So actually, this guy's like 80% of the funding.
Yeah, the voting was 2-2, so actually he just canceled himself.
Yeah.
The city council, yeah.
Well, I live in a low-income neighborhood, and I'm pretty much one of the few in this area. And the point is they actually raise this above like what the government will pay to drive out drug dealers and stuff like that. So if you live in this area, you're actually paying more than you should, even as a low income status.
That's the point I've tried to bring up to everyone, but they never see that. They never seem to see that B, C, D, and E that comes after A. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I pay more willingly because I've got access to a gym, a pool, a basketball court, all this other stuff, well as my neighborhood's crime-free.
What are you getting in disability right now from the United States Navy?
Oh, same, probably less than I was making as a military veteran.
Obviously, because it's a percentage of what you got as an active duty. Yeah. But I'm just saying, you're living in Chicago area now. Have you considered looking at Virginia and moving in, just living off of your disability?
I do not make enough to even move right now where I'm at. That's how little I make right now.
All right, well, we're looking at going down to Virginia granted, we have a little bit of money we put aside.
I would have to move in with somebody to get my feet under me in your area, in Virginia, for instance. And you're asking me to like, hey, would you help us pay into this, that, whatever? I'm like, dude, I couldn't. If I moved there, I would literally have to crash on somebody's couch for a month or two until I could get my feet under me.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on then. This guy here, I've never heard of this guy. This fighter, Israel, depending on who you want to talk to. Adesanya.
I've heard of him.
Apparently, he's like the new up and comer.
Yeah.
He just had a big fight the other night, and apparently Dana White was doing the talking. Dana White's the president, right, of the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Was doing his conversation.
For a while, I thought I was a lady.
And a question was asked, and Dana White walked away. He's like, "I'm not answering that." And this guy stepped up. He's like, "I'll take it."
I had a question for you around Joe Rogan. There's been a lot of controversy with him.
That was Dana walking
First
away.
off, let me take this one. Hold up. I'm black. I can take this one. Look.
Okay. What were
No. There's a lot of cunts in this game. There's a lot of snakes in this game. I've been in this fight game since 2008. And Joe Rogan is one of the nicest, coolest, humble motherfuckers I've had the pleasure of working with. Understand that? And you know, it's just, fuck the noise, man. You know what they're trying to do. You can't control the man, and he's got the biggest platform in the world right now. So that's my nigga, Joe Rogan. Fuck the noise.
Good
that
on
shit
that,
was
dude.
pimp, wasn't
Good
it?
on that, dude. Good on that, dude.
Exactly. It's like, who the fuck are you? You know? And by the way, this dude's a professional fighter on a world scale.
Yeah.
You might not want to call him a bunch of names. You know?
Yeah.
I kind of want to pivot because of that to the guy that killed Bin Laden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's in here somewhere. There he goes, Robert O'Neill. The guy who shot Bin Laden, by the way, allegedly shot him in the face.
Right. Allegedly.
Yeah,
there was
allegedly.
no body.
The Carl Vincent dumped his body into the ocean.
So they say.
Yeah,
If there's no photos, there's no proof.
There is video of them dumping a body into the ocean.
That wasn't his.
Could be all the crack cocaine they got.
I remember specifically saying, I did not see his face before the body was dumped into the ocean. I remember saying that on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy allegedly shot him in the face. Lost his job shortly after that because he came out and said, I killed him. Well, actually, you know what? This picture that he's got here of him selling the beer is actually pretty badass. He's got, unfortunately, there's a couple of MiGs in the sky and not F-Series. But he's got these wicked hot slutty girls and like fake sailor, Air Force, Marine, and
slutty
air.
Girls always win.
Slutty girls sell beer.
Yes, they do.
Slutty girls sell beer.
Actually, the same girls.
It might be the same girl. You're right.
Oh, yeah. They're going all branches of the service, but she looks the same.
That's what I said. It's like they got Air Force, sailor.
That's big time Photoshop shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's trying to get us to buy this beer company, and I don't know if because they went public. I'm not sure if he owns a piece of the company or not, but he's encouraging us because they're saying this beer is for everyone. It's not for Republicans. It's not for Democrats. It's drink some beer, which we all know that means that unless you think that purple hair makes you a better person, that this beer is good for you.
Comes in a hand grenade.
Well, I'm tempted to have a look and see what it costs right now because realistically, I think a lot of people have had enough of this leftist bullshit. Like for real.
But dude, and a lot of fucking brewery company are leftist.
Exactly. Everyone's making beer now too, right?
Yeah, as little as $200.
What?
200
a share?
Yeah.
No.
Already?
That's not gonna happen.
I'm looking. I'm on the actual website now. It says for as little as $200, you can own a piece of American Military Tribute Brewing Company.
That's cool, but I'm not spending $200 for a single share of a beer company I've never heard of. Anheuser-Busch is less than that. Now, I actually buy like a lot. I think Anheuser-Busch is like $57 a share. Yeah, I'm not spending that on something that's probably going to disappear. Like don't get me wrong, Black Rifle Coffee has been doing all right.
They just opened up too.
Craft beer is not the business to go into right now and invest in. There's too many of them out there.
Cheap beer and liquor. As the inflation rises, people are going to be buying whiskey.
Yep. But hey, guys, I am logging off for the night. Y'all have a good rest of your night.
The fuck, you're in like the Midwest or whatever.
You still got another hour.
Yeah,
I know, but I woke up. I went to bed at like 6 last night. Trust me, I'm wiped right now. I went to bed at like 6 this morning.
If you went to 6,
I went to bed at 6 a.m., not 6 p.m. So
it must have been a great day.
It was. Thank you very much. I will talk to y'all later. See y'all. If anybody's watching this, I'll see y'all Tuesday. I'm going to bed.
All right.
I need to use this chat feature better.
The what?
I don't even know what this means.
What?
I am 100% no service connected. I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry. I skipped over a little chat thing.
Yeah, I saw it too.
All right. Well, I don't know. How much more do we want to talk about?
No, that's why I'm asking you. You know, we can move all this to Tuesday if you want, or we can keep talking.
Yeah, but Saturday is supposed to be when we actually blow it out, but it's already been 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, El Kobe is going low, so nothing much about to go.
Yeah, I had an entire. Well, actually, you know what? I say an entire other lump, but that entire of the segment was actually the shit I keep aside. That doesn't link to anything else. There's no.
What about emojis?
This is about white privilege. That was supposed to fall. What was supposed to come after the Joe Rogan N-word thing? And it's about how using the Simpsons color with like thumbs up is racist and not just racist, white supremacist.
Yeah, because nobody, when they choose their emojis, they're choosing the color skin.
That's actually something that was actually brought up. Is like a lot of people's like, oh, I spent all this effort, and people don't understand. It's like, you realize that I'm not yellow, right? It's like I'm not. You can say I'm white, and granted, I am quote white, but like that's not actual white. You know what I mean? It's
like
it's
pinkish,
a tannish color,
pinkish tan.
Yeah,
that's what I see from the phone.
What difference? What the fuck difference does that make, dude? Like seriously,
right?
Are you a douchebag or not? Right? Why do we make such a big deal about what color thumbs up emoji I use? That's why can't I use a black thumbs up emoji?
I'm using purple.
There you go. Pull out your grapefruit.
The Dolphins got a new coach already?
Damn. Yeah, they do.
Huh? The Dolphins.
He's biracial.
Yeah. And actually, I'm pretty stoked because he said what we've said on the show.
Yeah,
I'm not black. I'm not
a human being.
I'm a human.
Identifies as a human being, and I'm a coach now.
Which
identify myself as a coach.
Yeah, well, good for him.
I mean, this coming from the organization that hired Urban Meyer last year. That he would go to strip clubs and fondle the strippers after the NFL games.
Really, I haven't been following sports honestly since I lived in Virginia because there's no sports in Virginia. No, there aren't. What team do you support if you live in Virginia?
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The team you came from. There's literally no sports teams in Virginia. You only have AAA.
Washington Commander.
Yeah, or the Capitals.
They play Washington in Maryland.
Actually, the Capitals in Washington State, aren't they?
No, they're in DC.
Yeah, DC.
Are they the hockey team?
Yeah.
The baseball team.
You got the Senators.
The Nationals.
Yeah.
They used to be called the Bullets.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the NBA used to be the Washington Bullets.
Well, I guess we're gonna save that other block. It has been 2 hours, and usually we get through our shit, but I did change. Well, I made an effort to actually try to go off topic in the that dark blue one that I changed the color of because I thought that would bring us into a political. What do you think is gonna happen?
Jingo's Planet.